Welcome back. We are going to look at buying a used vehicle today. Last lesson we were looking at buying a new, and we saw the implications of that, how you had to look at some hidden fees and look at your trade-in value. Now we're going to look at what if we want to buy a used car, something that's not new, something that's been driven for a couple years. Well, a used vehicle could be bought from a car dealership, but it could also be from a private citizen. Someone who's just selling their car in the paper, or maybe have a for sale sign on their cars they're driving around. Now, car dealerships, and though they do normally have new vehicles, they do take trade-ins, and those trade-ins they turn around, fix up, and sell as a used car. So you can buy one from both situations. Each will have unique aspects to calculating a final cost. So what we're going to find is that buying from a dealer or a private citizen does have an advantage and disadvantages. So again, we're looking at buying this, so we're going to start with the cost. Now, first one is how much you are willing to pay for that vehicle. Now, on used vehicles, you can negotiate. On a new vehicle, there's really not a lot of room, but most people are willing to negotiate, haggle over the price of a used vehicle. So you have to come up with a price that will work for both the seller and the buyer of the vehicle. Next, you want to make sure it's in working condition, so there are going to have to be or possibly be some repairs. Older vehicles will probably need to have a few more repairs done than newer vehicles, but you should take care of these at the time of purchase. We've already looked at maintaining a vehicle, looking at repairs, so remember on your tax bill for repairs there's both GST and PST. Now, the government wants their fair share, no matter if you're buying from a dealership or a private citizen. So if you are buying from a dealer, we've already seen that there is GST and PST on that. They're going to perform some services for you and sell you a product. So you have to do both GST and PST for the 13%. However, a private citizen does not have a GST number. They're not performing any service for you, so it is only provincial sales tax. So that is one thing you have to realize. A private citizen will only be PST. So it will be a little cheaper. However, like we're going to see, the dealer will do some things for you that will protect you when buying a used vehicle. So taxes, GST and PST for dealer, PST only for private. Now, safety check. The government has decided, and a good thing in my opinion, that in order for you to insure a vehicle when you change possession, that it has to be in good working order. This is where the repairs come in. So before you buy a used vehicle, especially from a private citizen, you need to take a mechanic, and he is going to go through it and make sure that there's anything major that has to be done. He's going to perform this safety check for us. Now, the safety check is going to cost us $40. And in Manitoba, that is a standard fee. Sometimes you can get it for cheaper, or the odd time a little more expensive, but if no price is given, we'll just say $40 plus tax. Now, the question is, which tax are we doing here? Now, for the safety check, the mechanic is performing a service, so we definitely have GST. For the safety check, he's not going to do any repairs. He's just looking at what has to be done. He's not selling you any products, so it's GST only. Now, if there are repairs, and you might use the same mechanic, you'd have to go up to the repair section and do GST on PST on the repairs. But just to check your vehicle, if it passes, it's just a $40 plus 5%. Next, we have something called a lien search. Lien search is something to protect you. It's recommended that you do it on all vehicles. Basically, what happens if I owe somebody some money, they will put a lien on my vehicle, saying that the owner of the vehicle legally owes them some cash, some money. Now, if I go and sell this vehicle to, say, you, then you are buying my lien as well. So if I owe $10,000 and you buy my lien that's got a $10,000 lien on it, then you owe that $10,000. So a lien search is protecting you from buying a vehicle that you're going to have to owe more money on in the future. So this is a contract that states the owner of the vehicle must pay money. That's of course what a lien is. If you buy the vehicle, you take on that debt. You could go down to the province of Manitoba and get a lien search done for $26. They're not going to charge you any tax. So once you have all these done, you just simply add them all up for our total cost. So let's look at our typical example here. Tommy wants to buy a used car. He finds a private sale for $8,000. The car needs a new muffler, which can be replaced for $300. Find his total cost. Well, we're going to start here with the cost of the car that he's negotiated. That is simply $8,000. So our total, we'll run a little total over here. Total for our car so far is our $8,000. But then, of course, we have to do some repairs. And in this case, it's a new muffler. A new muffler can be replaced for $300. But then, of course, repairs require taxes. So it's GST and PST. I'm going to multiply this by my 1.13 to get my cost for the repairs to be $339. Now we go into taxes. Now the tax on a private sale, or on a used car if you will, is going to be taxed on what the government considers to be the value of that vehicle. This is determined by looking at the book value, the black book value. The black book value is a list of all the cars and the value that they are at the current time of sale. So even though Tommy pays $8,000 for this car, perhaps the black book would be on $9,000, in which case our tax would be based on $9,000, not the amount that Tommy pays for it. When I was much younger, my parents sold me my first car for $1. Now it was worth about $10,000. So if I was to pay tax on what I paid for it, the government would be paying tax on the dollar that I actually paid my parents for. They're saying, no, that's not right. They actually made me pay tax on the $10,000, which they considered the value of it. So our taxes is on something called the black book value. Now, if the question doesn't talk about the black book value, we'll just simply use the price of the vehicle, $8,000. And now, is it GST or PST? So we look private sale. Private sale right away tells me PST only. So PST only is 8%. So I'm going to take my 8,000 and I'm going to times it by 0.08. So 8,000 times 0.08 is $640. Now some of you might be asking yourself, why didn't we go 1.08? Well, 1 is for the price of the car and the tax together. I've already got the 8,000 for my car, so all I want here is the tax, and the tax is 8%. So I times it by 640. Next, I've used up my numbers, but I do know there are more things I should do when buying used. The first one is that safety check. In fact, I will not be able to register my car until I get that safety check. So that is $40, and it's GST only. So I'm going to multiply this by 1.05, because I do want the price of the safety check in my final answer. So that is 42. And then I also want to make sure there's no lien on it. So I will go down and do a lien search. and that is a $26 fee, no taxes. 26. So now, my last step is to get my total. I'm going to take all of my costs, add them together, and I've got $9,047. So my $8,000 vehicle, which I negotiated for, once everything was said and done, turns into a $9,000 purchase. So when you're doing these, remember cost, repairs, tax on the black book. And remember, the black book price will be given in the question. If it's not, just use the purchase price. A safety and a lien search. We can now turn into our book and we can do questions 1 to 9.